Welcome back, everybody, and it's time to get into it, the top cut. We have 2 rounds of top cut for you, and as you may have predicted from that last round, CalebPeng was able to beat Boomer Burrell and secure a 3-run record, and that was enough to push him into the top cut. So that is who we're sticking with here. He's going to be facing off against CaspianPike. Fearsome competitor, was 3-0 going up against CaspianPike in round number 4, but CaspianPike able to clutch it out and come away with a perfect 4-0 bracket record. CaspianPike 3-1 still making it into top cut, and he's going to be facing off here against CalebPeng for the chance at the finals. CaspianPike is going to be facing off against Gerald on the other half of our bracket, and we'll see who we find in the finals there. But between these two, time to find out who's got the medal with these competing steel types. Fortress on the one side and Shadow Steelix on the other. Shadow Steelix has the one benefit of being a very, very hard answer to the opposing Fortress. But on the other side, as CalebPeng, when you're running Steelix, you have to be afraid of the Quagsire and very much that Guzzlord that will completely wall off anything the Steelix tries to do. So, going into game number 1, CaspianPike's team is fairly soft to Metacham. He's going to pick that up right away. Maybe knows he has to take a chance on Wigglytuff and just take a chance that it's not going to get lined up against that Corviknight or that Steelix. Is Caleb willing to run double steel to try and call out that Wigglytuff? I don't know. We'll see. Fortress on the side of CaspianPike. They'll probably not see the field if I had to guess. You have a very good matchup into the Wigglytuff and the Corviknight, but the matchup against Corsola is not really that good. The matchup against Metacham is really not that good, and then you get hard walled by the other two. So I'm betting Fortress never sees the field. This is probably going to end up being a Medi-Mirror match for a large point.
Thank you for asking.
Still one lock in, waiting. One trainer locked in, another still thinking things over. If you're CaspianPike, you can probably think about Empoleon to hard call an opposing Wigglytuff, because it is possible to see that. It's not hard to imagine Caleb bringing the Wigglytuff trying to call out the opposing Metacham, but not this time. We get a Metacham into Guzzler lead, and this is pretty tough for CaspianPike. The Psycho Cuts don't do anything, but this Stab Dynamic Punch is just going to nuke the Guzzler. It's not enough to knock out, but it still does way more than you want it to do, so CaspianPike going to shield up early. Going to respond with his own damage. Metacham can tank this pretty easily. Could even tank a second one. So, now the ball's in Caspian court. How is he going to pivot around this Metacham? You can't bring in your Empoleon. So maybe he just plays this out as closely as he can. Second Drill Swing comes through, unshielded. Caleb is up 1 shield, gets to throw this super hard-hitting Dynamic Punch. It's still not quite enough to knock out, thanks to the non-existent damage of the Psycho Cut, but able to get the move. So is Caleb going to choose to fight for switch, or is he going to take what he's got? He's just going to take what he's given. Keep the energy, go for a farm up on Corviknight, because Corviknight is going to safely get to a lot of charge attack pressure here. There's nothing on the side of Caspian to really hard counter that, besides the Fortress, which is already pretty much non-existent in this matchup. Big shield on the payback, but that is the last shield Caspian had to give. And Caleb is still sitting pretty behind 2 protect shields here. So how is he ever going to be able to deal with this backline? No more Medicham, so there's no threat of nuking what's in the back. The Empoleon. Able to land this super hard-hitting payback. Not quite enough, so another Air Cutter will be required. 2 Aqua Tails are going to come in. That's going to be enough to knock out at this point. But if you're Caleb, do you really care? There's no hard answer anywhere to your Quag. So maybe it's just okay to let all this go. We'll see. That is the play he's gonna go for. Gonna let this go, try to get up energy, Quag against the world, but with 2 protect shields to hide behind. Gonna shield up this first one. Probably gets the mud shot down before a second Aquatail comes through. So a pivot comes back into the Guzzlord, and if there's a move to no shield, it is probably this one. So good call from Caleb. He's gonna get the mud shot down on this. Only issue for Caleb here is, gonna actually spend this energy. Does not trust in the residual energy from the Guzzlord, gonna opt to get rid of it. Did not want to chance that it ever got to another move, but now the issue is this resisted charge attack pressure going to be enough to break through the Empoleon? You have 1 shield, without which this wouldn't be possible at all. And there's still the potential to catch on the side of CaspianPike as well. The last shield is stripped away. Caleb going immediately for the Aquatail. Is a second Aquatail even enough to knock out here? After the mudshot damage? I'm not even convinced it is. Oh, not even close. So there's really no way out of this for Caleb, I would say. Going to go for the big hitting, so knowing the Aquatail is not enough, going for the huge Stone Edge, and CaspianPike makes a catch. Probably didn't even expect to catch this move, but that is going to safely solve things away. CaspianPike goes up 1-0 on CalebPeng. Very close game, marathon of a game. It really came down to leveraging the Quag and keeping the Empoleon healthy. Even though there was a 2 protect shield advantage on the Quag, there were still so many Pokemon left, so much charge attack pressure. Quag just couldn't quite break through all 3 things, especially since it has no super effective move to throw at that Empoleon. If it were running Mud Bomb, maybe we would have a different scenario. But the scenario we have here is 1-0 for CaspianPike. What do we see as an adjustment from CalebPeng? For CalebPeng, the adjustment probably is not Wigglytuff. Empoleon is not hard to bring, whereas Steelix is as powerful as Bond like Steelix can bring. It is always risky to bring it, especially it'd be risky enough to bring it if there was no Quag, and Quag is also very easy to bring for CaspianPike. So back to the drawing board. What do we see in game 2? Depending on the IVs, you might not want to lead your Quag on either side. Losing that charge attack priority could be pretty decisive. Maybe it's a little easier for CaspianPike because there is the potential to catch an Aquatail maybe on the Empoleon, but then you risk the Empoleon getting hardwalled by the Steelix or nuked by the Medicham and back. Looks like we have 1 lock-in. 1 trainer still considering their options. Quag may be a little too valuable in covering the Steelix, and that was another thing I liked in the game 1 team of CaspianPike. Completely hardwalling the Steelix, giving it really nothing to work with. Even if it was caught against the Empoleon, it would still have to take more than 60% damage from a single Hydro Cannon. So is that the core we stick with in game number 2? Looks like the battle might be going. Okay, here we go. We've got a lock-in in game 2. We've got Medicham Mirror Lead, and this one is interesting. It's kind of like a Quag Mirror Lead, only the charge attack tie is not nearly as impactful. It's also kind of a weird matchup in that Dynamic Punch, believe it or not, is the better move to go for. It is more efficient. It does a little more damage. So I think maybe going straight Ice Punch all the way would be a little cleaner, but then you also risk your Ice Punch being caught onto something. So making a sensible play, going straight Dynamic Punch, not risking any kind of catch on anything. And if you're CaspianPike, you have to be pretty happy with how this is going. There's the risk of losing the tie, and if he's gonna make a pivot into the Quag, doesn't want a chance that he could just lose alignment and force a Steelix stuck on his Empoleon or something. So just going to make a move into the Quag straight away. Keep his Medicham alive for later. Gonna shield up this move. And now Caleb is in the difficult position of having to come in, probably into the Corviknight. Exactly. Shield advantage for Caleb at this point. He's going to be able to handle this energy from the Quag pretty well. The question is, how much impact is that Medicham going to have in the end game? It's pretty low, it has energy. They're going to come down to a Dynamic Punch landing on that Empoleon in the back. I don't know. Let's see. Aqua Tail comes through. Gonna make a pivot into the Wigglytuff. Sending the Wigglytuff into the Corviknight, making a hard call that it's maybe a Steelix in the back. A very interesting call from CaspianPike. Knows that these air cutters don't hit that hard, but they do hit often. And this is going to be a little bit of a problem. It's not an Icy Wind range. It's going to be pretty hard to get through this Corviknight, and I think CaspianPike might be realizing, wait, I think I just kind of gave away my Wigglytuff for free here. Now it has no play against Medicham in back. It's not going to be able to land a Charm. Finally, after 3 air cutters getting this Icy Wind, it's still not going to be enough to knock out, and what are you going to farm it down with? You have Mudshot and Psycho Cut. This Corviknight is proving to be such a problem. So just going to send in the Quag straight away. Caleb not going to allow any kind of energy advantage, just going to hard send in the Unquag, and I don't know. Things looking to be in a pretty good position for Caleb. Gets all of his remaining moms besides the Quag are pretty low. He is going to have to take one of these Aqua Tails at least. Probably doesn't believe in his IVs to win the mirror. Yeah, so just going to go for the farm down all the way. So even though everything is below half health on Caleb's side, he's still got a lot of energy, and there's really just not that much fast attack pressure from CaspianPike. He's going to get the full farm down here. There is a shield for CaspianPike, but he's going to have to spend it on pretty much anything this Quag throws. So there is the chance of a potential catch, going for the cheeky play, and gets the catch. Makes the peekaboo play, gets the huge catch on the Aqua Tail, and that could free up the space he needed to win this game. Here comes Medicham back in, gonna have to shield the second. But now you're in a pretty good position. How much energy did Caleb's Medicham have when it switched out? Caleb has the capacity for his own catch here. And he's gonna make the catch. No energy on the Medicham, going to completely get some utility out of it with catching this Ice Punch. And undercharge from CaspianPike, knows he has to get some energy back. And is this enough energy to work with? If Quag comes in, you know you can throw the energy immediately. Throw this Ice Punch. Corviknight might not have the energy to work with at this point. Let's see. No! Quag lives! Quag barely tanks out. A bulky Quag from Caleb. Caleb knowing he's not winning the charge attack priority die, well, that's because it's got the bulk to do that. Wow, I thought Ice Punch was coming through to knock out that Quag, but it was just enough to hang on and get the Aqua Tail and secure a game for Caleb. Very close. We're going to decisive game 3 yet again. So as Caleb, you were able to leverage the bulk of that Corviknight to its full extent, just hanging around, taking Aqua Tails, getting reliable, consistent damage off with the Air Cutter. Is there an adjustment from CaspianPike to deal with that, other than to maybe play it better? I would say an adjustment is to maybe not send the Wigglytuff in against the Corviknight when it's at pretty much full health, but it almost worked, and it did require a massive catch from CaspianPike to almost barely get back into it, so CaspianPike probably wondering why he switched the Wigglytuff into the Corviknight there. Probably not going to do it again. And we'll be fair, if there was a Steelix in the back, that was probably the correct play to make. So, a lot of thought going into these Game 3 team comps. CaspianPike probably going to stick with the Empoleon. Probably not going to expect any kind of Steelix shenanigans from Caleb. The question is, where do we keep it? If you lead the Empoleon into the Medicham, you're in a pretty bad spot, because you have identical pacing to the Dynamic Punches, and Medicham can survive one of those Drill Pecks better than the Empoleon can take the Dynamic Punch. So the lead is probably a non-starter. if I had to guess, we'll see him pulling on it in the back a second time. Quag is coming on both sides, I would think. We stick with Metacham. We get another Metacham mirror in the lead, maybe. Or does Caleb make a wild call with the lead? Trip to the finals on the line. 50 points waiting for if you can just win this match and get to the finals for a chance at the title. Also, we see a pivot back into Guzzlord in Game 3. We'll find out, and what do you know? There's a Guzzlord waiting there. Getting the Quag into Wiggly lead, which is always a little weird. You have a lot of room to dance around as the Quag, but it's not a positive lead for you. The damage just adds up so much. The ball is kind of in the court of Caleb here, going for a big call in the lead with Wiggly, maybe hoping to catch something, and CaspianPike probably thrilled to see this lead, considering what he has in the back. Make a move into the Quag, keep the Wiggly alive. That's going to be a little troublesome later. That's going to help Caspian get absolute guaranteed utility out of this Guzzlord. Keeps it away from the Wiggly. Probably doesn't plan to shield a single thing that this Quag throws at it. Is there any chance? No, certainly not. There's certainly no chance of getting enough energy to throw a move at the Wigglytuff. And while you don't want to concede a big farm down to the Wigglytuff, you kind of don't really have a choice. You don't want to give away. You don't want to just give away your switch advantage here if you can help it. Caleb's gonna double down and see if he can keep switch advantage. Builds up this move. Going for a hard-hitting move here. Gets the no shield as expected. The Quag is still around to cause some havoc later, maybe. Can maybe get to an Aqua Tail, possibly two, because there's not a lot of fast move pressure remaining on the side of CaspianPike. Gonna go hard into the Metacham. Now he's down energy in the Metacham mirror, but his Quag does have some energy, and he still has the Wiggly waiting. So, how will this play out? Medi is up energy for CaspianPike. Do we see ever the chance of a bait? Doesn't look like it. So this long, grinding Metacham mirror going to need a lot of charge attacks. Which player is going to be able to keep the energy that they need? Hang on in the back. Full sends. Not quite enough to knock out. Caleb's going to have to throw the second one. This is one of the rare times where a Metacham charge attack eye could become relevant. Maybe not. No, just going to save it, but I don't think Ice Punch is quite enough here. Caleb is looking like he might have another move to throw if he lives on 1 health, and he does! He saves it for later. So, Quag has 2 Aqua Tails loaded. This might be too much health for Caleb to overcome. He's going to let the first one go. Knows he has to take one of them. Does not have the move ready to go. Has to shield up this Aqua Tail if he wants to land this Swift. And he is going to spend it. Caspian shaking his head, doesn't like the predicament he's in. Because he knows there's energy waiting on that Quag. He knows that Metacham has a full Dynamic Punch ready to go. There's just a lot of work for this Quag to do, but it does have an attack ready, so Metacham can't come in yet. No, he is going to send it in and take the energy. Take all the energy from the Quag. The Quag is completely dry. Is Caleb's Quag going to be able to clutch this out? Doesn't look like it's going to be able to get the farm down. Has to throw immediately and had to take a chance on the cap tie. The bulky Quag that saved him in Game 2 couldn't get the job done on the cap tie in Game 3, so a super close game. Really well played, and CaspianPike is going to have a chance to take our Pico Rivera Cup here. Wow. Very close. Talking it over, it was... As we expected, there was no Fortress in sight. Not really taking a chance on the Steelix either. Just playing it out with Quag and Metacham mirrors, just like we saw in Arlington, or Houston, I should say. And that is just going to take us to our grand finals. So, who is CaspianPike going to face in the finals? Is it going to be K-Pine for the rematch, or is it going to be Gerald? Let's find out.